This is the Almost Timely newsletter for the week of December 3rd, 2023. Content authenticity statement: 100% of this newsletter was generated by me, the human. When I use AI, I will disclose it prominently. There's a link to the in the newsletter to why this is important, plus today's lead article is also about this sort of thing. It's also going to be really important, so make sure you're doing it. All right. I'm going to go a little off track here for a second. Trigger warning, content warning, whatever you'd want to call it. If you are someone who adamantly and unflinchingly believes that AI is never going to replace human creativity and stuff, you are not going to like today's newsletter. I skip it and come back another time. So just fair warning. All right, let's talk about what's on my mind this week. Why AI content is preferred over human content. Let's talk about a really, really important paper in generative AI. This is from September of 2023, so it's not terribly old. It's a couple months old. It's really interesting. The title of the paper is Human Favoritism, Not AI Aversion, People's Perceptions and Bias Towards Generative AI, Human Experts, and Human Gen AI Collaboration in Persuasive Content Generation by Zhang et al. From MIT's Sloan School of Business. There's a link in the newsletter if you want to read the original paper. I recommend that you read it. It's about 29 pages of academic content and like 70 pages of supplementary content. This is a study on how people perceive the content generated by AI. So let's dig into what the study did. Working with the consulting firm Accenture, the study looked at 4 different content creation scenarios: human only, AI generated only, human edited, what they call human augmented, which is taken from AI generation, human edited, human generated and AI edited, what they call AI augmented, and pure AI generated. So those are the 4 categories: human only, AI only, made by humans and edited by AI, made by AI and edited by humans. 4 categories. They did this with GPT-4 using the consumer chat GPT interface, the $20 a month one. So nothing special, no crazy special stuff here. The participants, the consultants from Accenture, had to create 5 pieces of persuasive copy and 5 pieces of straight-up ad copy. Each piece of content had to be 100 words or less. The ads were for air fryers, projectors, electric bikes, emergency kits, and a tumbler, right? Drinking cup. The persuasive copy was for 5 relatively non-controversial causes: stop racism, recycle more, get more exercise, wash your hands, eat less junk food. So they had people create human stuff, ChatGPT create its stuff. People create stuff that then ChatGPT would modify, and then ChatGPT created stuff that people would then modify. Those are the 4 categories and what they did. After this study group created the materials, they enrolled 1,203 participants using Qualtrics to score the content in a survey. The scoring population was gender balanced, so 50% male, 50% female, with a median age of 38. They were broken into 3 groups: people who were not told that AI was involved at all, people who were partially informed and fully informed. Partially informed meant that survey participants knew that AI was involved, but they weren't told whether any given piece of content they were evaluating was generated by AI or not. That's partially informed. Fully informed meant that they knew on a given piece of content they were evaluating whether it was generated by AI or not. And they were asked specifically 4 key questions, 4 scoring mechanisms for each piece of content: satisfaction, willingness to pay, interest, and persuasiveness. So, what happened? Well, this is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. The AI content was rated higher than human content across the board. And in groups where people didn't know whether the content was created by AI or not, the partially informed group and the uninformed group, they found AI content more satisfying than human or human-led content. So, it's been nice knowing you. Here's an even more interesting twist. When people did know that AI generated the content, they rated the content more favorably for humans, right? So they said, the study said there's a clear bias for human-led content when you knew it was made by humans. When people didn't know, AI scored better. When they knew AI generated the content, they didn't ding it for AI being the creator. They didn't penalize it. So the scores for didn't know it was AI and knew it was AI were the same, though. So AI, there was no AI aversion, right? That's what that means. So people in the study favored human-led content when they knew it was human-led, but they didn't penalize AI for AI-generated content. What does this all mean? All right. It means that for anyone in content creation, the use of AI isn't going to harm your marketing. In the uninformed trials where people didn't know, AI content outperformed human content, both for ads and persuasive content. That is a big deal. Right? It means that the machines did a better job than highly paid consultants. And I want to emphasize that last part. These are not, people you found on Fiverr. These are people who work at Accenture, one of the most reputable consulting firms on the planet, and one of the best known ones, right? McKinsey, Bain, BCG, Accenture, Deloitte, the big houses, right? AI did better than humans. In cases where people knew AI was at work, they didn't downrate the content because of AI. They biased themselves more favorably towards human content when they knew it was human-led, but they didn't penalize AI when they knew it was AI. And when they didn't know, AI performed better. This means that fears that AI is just going to create a sea of garbage may be somewhat overblown. Certainly, and here's what the nuance in this. Skillful use of AI will lead to skillful outcomes, skillful content, right? Unskilled use of AI will lead to, boilerplate marketing garbage and the same dreck we read all the time. But the cost and time savings are massive. Highly paid consultants, like these folks get paid $300, $400, $500 an hour. And it took them time an effort to create their content. The study didn't say how long the humans took, but they did say ChatGPT took seconds. That's a big deal. The authors of the paper point out there are massive capital savings to be had because AI generates better results than the humans in a fraction of the time. And this is measured in real-world tests, not synthetic benchmarks. The critical takeaway for many of us, and why I mentioned at the top of the newsletter, is that disclosing the use of AI didn't harm survey participants' perception of the quality. So it means that it is safe to use AI to generate content and tell the truth about it. That you used AI to generate the content is not going to harm you. The human bias also means that you can use human-led content with disclosure as a marketing tactic, right? People perceive content that's human-created as more favorable, even if it's lower quality, simply because of our bias towards other people. And that means, in the big picture, it is always worth disclosing the use of AI. It's like what I do at the top of the newsletter. I disclose when I don't use it, right? It doesn't harm audience perception to use AI. When you have human-led content like this newsletter, disclose that to take advantage of the bias towards human-led content, right? 100% of this newsletter created by a human. AI might write it better than me, but you will have a more favorable response because it's human-led. Okay. This study is going to have repercussions, right? It's done by a reputable shop, MIT Sloan School of Business. It's been peer-reviewed. It's going to have repercussions because AI content is better than human content in a real-world test. And it is so much cheaper to have AI generate content than human content. For organizations who are cost-focused, they're going to use AI much more. And they may not disclose its use because it doesn't harm it, right? And that imperils the jobs of content creators at those kinds of organizations because you need fewer creators. Machines will just do the creation. And with skillful prompting, we'll do it better than the humans. And this aligns with something we've been saying forever. A person skilled with AI will take the jobs of people who are not skilled with AI. A person skilled with AI will take the jobs, plural, of people who are not skilled with AI. What you take away from this study and what you do with it are up to you and how your organization values people and productivity. The reality is this: if you get better content out of AI and you get it much faster and much cheaper, organizations that measure productivity based on how much stuff you get, how quickly at the lowest cost, they're going to use AI for everything, and they're going to toss people overboard as fast as possible. If you work for such an organization, you need to get skilled up on the use of AI right this very minute, because that organization is just going to have fewer workers. It's going to have fewer workers. It's going to have lower budgets for marketing. That's what's going to happen at organizations like that. If you work for an organization that values the human-led, organic, handcrafted, artisanal human content approach, then you will probably be using AI as part of the creative process, but it won't replace the process in whole. But we saw in the paper, human augmented with AI outperformed human alone. Right? Human alone did the worst. To be clear, human alone did the worst. Highly paid consultants did the worst compared to augmented with AI in some capacity or outright AI generated. That is the big takeaway, and it's a big deal. So now is the time to get comfortable with AI, because it's doing a better job than we are. I wonder, maybe I should try having an issue of this newsletter done by AI. Maybe I'll do like an A/B split test. Half the recipients will get the AI version, half the recipients will get the human version. And we'll see. There's a little voting section. How was this issue in each of my newsletters? Maybe we'll see which one gets a better vote. Right? Same writing, same prompt, but different writing. I think it's worth a try. And I will disclose afterwards in that specific experiment. Whew. All right. From the news this week, I recommend, there's a piece I did on the dangers of excluding your content from AI models. Give it a watch, give it a read. There's a lot in there about why you might not want to. We also had a piece on whether art made by AI is really art. My view is yes, it's still art. And a discussion of the difference between open source and open weights. If you haven't seen it in the email, I'm plastering it all over my newsletter now. The new Generative AI for Marketers course is available for pre-order right now. It goes live December 13th, so 10 days from this newsletter issue. It is $4.99 in pre-sale. If you use the discount code EARLYBIRD300, it is $7.99 as of December 13th. So if you would like to take this course, it's 5 hours. The first lesson is a preview lesson. It goes through what's in the course. If you want to take it for the preview lesson for free to see if it's for you, go check it out. There's a link in the newsletter. There's a link everywhere. Go to trustinsights.ai/AI course if you want to take that preview lesson, get a sense of what's in the course, and then pick it up from there. But I am really happy with it. I assembled it based on the workshops that I've been doing, taking all the frequently asked questions, beefing up a lot of stuff that people asked after workshops, like, hey, what about this? What about this? So there's a lot of stuff in there, and we're going to be updating it on a regular basis, probably quarterly, as things change. Maybe more often if there's something really big like custom GPTs that just necessitates a new module. There's also going to be, I'm also thinking about doing mini courses, right? So I was thinking, because there's a whole big section on prompt engineering in the main course, but I was thinking about doing something on advanced prompt engineering that's based on a few different research papers. That's a lot more technical and in the weeds. If you think that'd be of interest to you, if you feel like you've got a pretty good handle on regular prompt engineering and you want to try doing some wackier stuff and more thorough stuff, and a course like that would be interesting. Maybe it'd be like, I don't know, $99 or whatever, and it'd just be a 45-minute lesson or something. Let me know. Hit reply on the newsletter. Let me know if that would be of interest or not. All right, so that's the plug. Let's talk about jobs from this week. We have Analysis Manager of Game Analytics at PlayStation Global, Analytics and Data Science Manager at Intrepid Digital, Data Engineering Manager at PlayStation Global, Email Marketing Manager at Coursera, QA Engineer at Murmuration, Senior Analyst of Sales Analytics at Harnum, Senior Analytics Engineer and Senior Game Data Analyst at PlayStation Global, Senior Search Engine Marketing Analyst at Omnitail, and Senior Web Analyst at Tomorrow. So lots of stuff happening there on the jobs front. Although I have heard from a lot of people that the market is really tough right now, and the data that we've been doing recently shows that it's not a super friendly environment out there. Maybe it's time to do a job hunting with AI mini course. Maybe we'll make that one free, because I try to do all the job hunting stuff for free, because people who don't have jobs can't spend money on stuff like that. All right, what else happened in the news this week? We have Instagram story analytics. The Montana ban on TikTok has been ruled obviously unconstitutional by a judge, which huge surprise there. We have 96.55% of content gets no traffic from Google. No surprise there. The GPT store from OpenAI is now going to launch in 2024. It has been delayed, which is not surprising. There was an interesting research paper from Microsoft on medical prompting for generative AI, which was an interesting read. A lot of talk this week on retrieval augmented generation and the different ways to implement that, and there's an article about that. And then, for some reason, our Slack community, Analytics for Marketers, Dolly Parton kept coming up. So there's a couple articles that from background research I was doing, but Dolly Parton is the only celebrity/musician who's listed on the COVID Moderna vaccine research paper. The Dolly Parton Foundation did partially fund that vaccine, and then she invested royalties from Whitney Houston's cover in the Black community, in office space in Nashville and stuff, which I thought was really cool. So there's all that. Upcoming events. Social Media Marketing World in February, Marketing Profs Online in March, Australian Food and Grocery Council in Melbourne in May, and MACON in Cleveland in September. Plus, there's like 10 other things going on right now that we're just getting paperwork for. And once that gets settled, I'll be there. If you would like me to come talk at your event about AI, either as a keynote or as a full-day workshop, let me know. Happy to have those discussions with you and figure out what that looks like. That is the news for this week, and it has been a big week. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you showing up for the artisanal, handcrafted human content in the newsletter. As always, thank you for being here. Please feel free to share it with a friend. There's a leaderboard if you're reading this on Substack. There's a leaderboard and some perks if you share it enough times, which I always appreciate. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you want to know when new videos are available, hit the bell button to be notified as soon as new content is live.